this is where
Well,
all the magic has happened, right?
we're storing. I've been packaging up all of my Boy Scout. This is all my. I'm trying to get ready to dispose of all of these items from my Boy Scout days. That's my cook kit that I used at the Jamboree in England in 1957, and this is my fire starter kit. And we used to compete to start a fire with a bow and a drill and burn a string in two, and I was the perennial winner in those contests. So.
That's great.
So
are there lights in here that we can turn on while we?
There's lights in here. We can.
Perfect.
There's some light.
What do we have here?
Well, this is a research collection including the 39 volumes of Hubert Bancroft's works on Western history. This particular set belonged to David McNair from Myrtle Point, Oregon. And when he bought the set, he got a ticket to visit the Bancroft Library in San Francisco. And this is Mr. McNair's ticket from the 1880s. And we have part of another set that belonged to Patty's great-great-grandfather, Bird Vowell. And his volumes have his name on the base of the spine. These are books about the history of the American West from Baja California to Alaska. And they are a wonderful research collection. These volumes these two shelves are all publications about Coos, Curry, Josephine, and Jackson counties in southwestern Oregon, where we grew up. And they are books about that area or written by authors from that area. Over the years, tribal friends have given us numerous items. This is a basket from our friend Helen Sanders, who lives on the Chehalis Reservation. I worked with Helen in several Indian cases in the 1980s and 1990s. These volumes are mostly Native American history. This particular set is the Handbook of North American Indians, published by the Smithsonian. In 1965, I participated with the scholars who conceived this set because my graduate advisor convened the meetings in Los Angeles, and eventually then I became a contributing author to 3 of these volumes, including Northwest Coast and Plateau. These shelves in here deal with the Lewis and Clark expedition, and that eventually led to a couple of the books that I wrote, Lewis and Clark from the Rockies to the Pacific, and the literature of the Lewis and Clark expedition. And then these are all other titles. There's the book Requiem for a People, and reports, and so on. This is
where you work?
This is where I work. And my hours are measured by the clock from the Simpson Lumber Company. Simpson established the shipyards and sawmill at Coos Bay in 1855. And this was the office clock, the Seth Thomas. And I wrote about this lumbering shipbuilding family in the publication, The Simpsons of Shore Acres, which I believe I mentioned has sold some 35,000 copies since 1972. It started out as an article in the Historical Quarterly, and then we thought it had a bigger audience, and that proved to be the case. And the light's on. So this is the basement archive with my correspondence, photographs and diaries, and they're set up by year and then by subject. And when there are negatives or photographs with the report, I've keyed it in yellow. And as fast as I can, I'm trying to get everything under control, but I'm behind. There's just such a volume of it, and I've run out of shelf space, so I'm stacking boxes on the floor.
Can you show me the first one? I think it's notable that this starts early.
Well, it starts in the 1940s, and it includes, here's my letters, report cards, early correspondence. This one's kind of interesting. These are some of my notes as a college student. So these are my drawings for my invertebrate zoology course. They're all done in pencil. Let's see, this is from the 6th of November, 1961. But I found that taking neat, meticulous notes helped me learn the material. So I had a great pride of preparation in working with my college classes. See, these are my notes for organic chemistry with my lab experiments, October 26, 1961.
That's so wonderful. You've always been so, you've not made people like me, B students, feel inferior. I mean, you're so immensely productive. You're a short sleeper with a keen memory, but you don't, us mere mortals are not. Is that something you think about it at all? Just to be kind to students and generous? Was that something that crossed your mind at all?
Well, I liked it, Jeff. I liked getting along with everyone. I didn't want to be at odds with anybody. And my grandfather Beckham used to say, you should look for the good in every person. And that's what I've tried to do. And that's building upon their goodness, and it helps make you a better person. This is an interesting thing. My colleagues at the law school made me an honorary alum in appreciation for the years that I taught in the Indian law program. And my dad used to get quite amused. He'd say, "How can you be teaching law school when you never went to law school?" And I said, "Because I've had a lot of life experience that involves judges and the court and procedure." And I said, "Look, Dad, my colleagues made me an alumnus, so I'm very pleased with that."
And your journals go on over here. They're significant. They go on for many, many years.
There are shelves of them.
I've taken more of your time than I planned, and so
Okay.
I want to. You have a 2:00 appointment.
No, let me get the light here. See, I have a lot more boxes, Jeff, that I haven't gone through. It's terrible. Patty's, reduce the bulk. And one of the things that I haven't done that's coming is I'm going to burn all my lecture notes from Lewis and Clark. They're of no use anymore. But, I spent years revising and putting them together. But history has changed, and history is being interpreted differently. And some of these boxes, are lecture notes that are disposable. They're going to go away because there's no point in keeping them. But it's been, I have all these to go through. I try to do something every week. But
so tell me, as we walk back upstairs here, What is a typical work day like you? What time do you get up? Do you get up at a regular time? Do you have a routine that you
Yeah,
follow?
6:30. I'm usually here at my desk at 7:30, and I work till noon, and go up and get a bite of lunch. And now that I'm in my 80s, I usually take a nap for about 20 minutes. I prefer a 20-minute. Sometimes I fall asleep a little longer than that. And then I will work from 1:30 to 5 in the afternoon. And then Patty and I watch the news at 5:30. Usually David Muir right now on ABC. We like him a lot. And then we eat at 6. And then in the evenings, my preference is to read. Then we'll often watch, we just watched Borgen, 30 programs from Norway or Denmark. I think Norwegians, we watched Seaside Hotel, Borgen, Thicker Than Water, a Swedish series of 30 programs. We'll watch a video for an hour or so in the evening.
So a routine it's important to you, and it's natural, I take it, that you keep it. It just has been...
Yeah, it's a good routine. And then Patty does anymore. She does a lot more gardening than I do. But
well, I'm going to get a wide shot here while we talk here. You keep busy in the garden too, right?
Well, yes, I've grown a vegetable garden for 45 years here at this address. This year, because of health issues and low energy, I didn't do so well. But we had a harvest of tomatoes, zucchini, quite a lot of flowers, onions, cabbages. I think growing a garden is very important, and I've already collected the zinnia and marigold seeds for next year's flower garden. Plus, at the beach, I still do all the mowing. I have the lawns to mow at our home at the beach, and I do the pruning. Patty helps out a lot now. She's increasingly become a gardener, but we have a lot of hydrangeas that need pruning over at the beach.
Do you ever find yourself just frittering away an afternoon?
No.
Or it doesn't?
No.
What was your work? You think it was your early years?
Well, I have people ask me, "What do you do in your leisure time?" And I've never thought I had any leisure time. I'm always engaged in something. I'm happiest when I'm doing. A good friend of mine, the former president of Linfield College, Gordon Bjork, used to compare me to an artist friend of ours. He'd say, Frank's doing is being, and your being is doing, and that's kind of true. My being, my self-worth is in being engaged in doing things, learning things, exploring things, creating things. That's really driven me all my life.
Do you think a person can learn that? Do you think a person can develop that, or is it just the way your brain was and the way you were raised?
Well, I think it's the way it was the way I was born. Maybe it's in my DNA, and I was nurtured by very active parents who were fully engaged in life.
As you may know, I've referred to this often in my correspondence to you over the years, that I have tried to be like you, and I have made dramatic advancements in productivity.
You embarrass me.
In college. But you have always been the beacon, but I take it you have. I think it's the DEK2 short sleeper gene.
Yeah.
And with some nurturing and such, from the parents. And I have just wondered, how can I be more like my history professor? And so, is that a folly for me to pursue? To try? I can never be at your level of content production. But what would you say to a mortal like me, a B student, who somehow finds a way, who has the intellectual curiosity but not the discipline?
Hey, you're doing it. You're involved. Your emails to me are just wonderful. They show that you have an embrace of life, and that's what it's all about. And the level of activity, I think, will vary from person to person. I'm not very happy just sitting. That's where a vacation to Mexico doesn't make very good sense to me. When I've done that with the family, I'll take a whole small suitcase of work to do. And I spend far more time in the room at my laptop than I do down at the swimming pool because I'm not happy just being. I prefer to do.
Me too. Me too.